No prestige, no solutions, and a beak full of herbs that did absolutely nothing. Welcome to the thankless existence of a medieval plague doctor, where your patients died anyway and everyone blamed you for it. Picture this. It's 1348. The Black Death is ravaging Europe. Towns are literally digging mass graves before people have even died because they know what's coming. The stench of death fills every street. And who gets to wade through all this misery wearing what amounts to a bird costume? You do, good doctor. You do. My name is Xavier Pemberton, and I've been a plague doctor for 5 years now. That's approximately 4 years and 11 months longer than most of my colleagues, who either caught the plague themselves or wisely decided to pursue literally any other profession, like dung collector or professional rat catcher, both of which, ironically, would have been more effective at stopping the plague than what I do. Let's start with the outfit, shall we? My protective gear consists of a full-length leather coat that's hotter than the devil's armpit in summer. Underneath, I wear linen garments sealed with wax, because nothing helps you treat patients like sweating profusely and feeling like you're being slowly cooked alive. My gloves extend to my elbows, and I carry a wooden cane to poke patients without touching them. Very dignified, very scientific. But the piece de resistance is, of course, the mask. Ah, the mask. Imagine strapping a hollowed-out bird head to your face, with glass windows for eyes that fog up constantly and limit your vision to approximately what you'd see looking through a keyhole during a foggy night. The beak, stuffed with lavender, roses, mint, camphor, cloves, myrrh, and basically the entire spice rack, is supposed to protect me from bad air. Miasma, we call it. The theory is that disease travels through foul smells, so if I can't smell the death around me, I won't catch the plague. Spoiler alert, that's completely wrong. The worst part? I paid for this ridiculous costume myself. That's right, unlike modern doctors who get their equipment from hospitals, I had to commission this bird outfit with my own money. Cost me 2 months' wages. 2 months. For something that offers roughly the same protection as wearing a cheese wheel on my head. My daily routine starts with applying herbal remedies to my wrists, behind my ears, and inside my nostrils. Then I get dressed in my plague suit, a process that takes nearly an hour and requires assistance. By the time I'm fully dressed, I'm already exhausted, overheated, and smelling like a perfume merchant's storage closet. Then I set off for my rounds. People literally run away when they see me coming. Children cry. Adults cross themselves. Dogs bark. This is before I've even done anything. Just my appearance is enough to terrify everyone. Nothing builds patient confidence quite like looking like death's eccentric cousin. Doctor, doctor. Lady Lillian Stonebridge calls from her doorway. She's one of the wealthier residents of our town and can actually afford my services. My husband has developed a fever and swellings under his arms. Please come quickly. I enter their home, and Lord Stonebridge takes one look at me and nearly jumps out of his sickbed. Good heavens! Has it come to this? Am I so far gone that they've sent the Birdman? I sigh inside my mask, creating a small sauna effect on my face. Sir, I am a trained physician here to help. This is technically true, though my medical training consisted largely of reading ancient Greek texts about bodily humors and performing exactly 0 practical examinations before the plague hit. Most of us plague doctors aren't even real physicians. We're the second-rate practitioners, barber surgeons, or just desperate men who needed work. The real doctors? They fled to country estates with the nobility at the first sign of buboes. I approach Lord Stonebridge and use my cane to lift his nightshirt, revealing the telltale blackened lymph nodes of the plague. Lady Stonebridge gasps. Fear not. I say with all the false confidence I can muster. I have several treatments. Here's what I don't tell them. None of these treatments work. Not a single one. But I must do something to earn my fee. First, I recommend bloodletting, the removal of bad blood, to restore balance to the body's humors. I pull out my lancet and bleed the poor man, collecting the blood in a bowl. This actually weakens him further, but it's what the ancient texts prescribe, so who am I to argue with Galen, a man who died over 1,000 years ago? Next, I lance his buboes, those painful, swollen lymph nodes filled with infection. This is as pleasant as it sounds, which is to say, not at all. Lord Stonebridge screams while his wife faints. Typical Tuesday for me. Finally, I prescribe a poultice made from dried toad, arsenic, and crushed emeralds to be applied to the buboes. Yes, emeralds. Because nothing says effective medical treatment like grinding up precious gemstones and slapping them on an infection. I might as well tell them to rub money directly on the wound. That will be 2 florins, I tell Lady Stonebridge when she regains consciousness. 2 florins, she exclaims. That's highway robbery. Madam, I have just spent an hour treating your husband while risking my own life. The ingredients for the poultice alone cost 1 florin. This is another lie. The emerald in my poultice is actually green glass, and the arsenic is mostly chalk. But I have to eat, and unlike modern doctors, I don't have a consistent salary. I'm paid per house call, and only if the patient or family agrees to pay. Many don't. Lord Stonebridge will be dead within 3 days. I know this. Lady Stonebridge probably suspects it. But I'll return daily until he dies, collecting my fee each time. It's a grim business model, but it's the only one I have. As I leave the Stonebridge residence, I'm approached by a group of townspeople wielding pitchforks and torches. This happens more often than you'd think. There he is, shouts one man. The plague spreader. Yes, that's another delightful aspect of my job. Many believe plague doctors actually cause the disease we're trying to treat. Some think we spread the plague for profit. Others believe we're agents of the devil. A few think we're in league with the Jews or foreigners who are allegedly poisoning wells. It's all nonsense. But try explaining that to an angry mob who's lost half their family. I'm simply trying to help, I say, backing away slowly. My wife was fine until you visited, a man shouts. The next day, dead. Your wife had visible buboes when I arrived. I want to tell him. She was decidedly not fine. But there's no reasoning with grief and superstition. I managed to escape by ducking down an alley. The leather coat that's been cooking me alive all day finally serves a purpose as it protects me from a rock thrown at my back. Small mercies. By the end of my rounds, I've visited 12 houses, lanced 27 buboes, prescribed 9 herbal remedies, performed 4 bloodlettings, and recommended 3 hot baths with vinegar. I've collected payment from only 5 households. 1 paid me in chickens. I return home exhausted, reeking of herbs and death. My eyes are strained from peering through those tiny glass windows all day. My back aches from bending over patients while wearing what amounts to leather armor. My hands are cramped from gripping my cane and medical instruments through thick gloves. The worst part? I have to burn my linen underclothes every few days as a precaution. New clothes aren't cheap. Between that, the cost of herbs for my mask, and the general maintenance of my outfit, I barely break even most months. As I remove my mask, I notice a small tear in the leather near the eye socket. That will cost money to repair. Money I don't have because the widow Thatcher paid me with a wheel of cheese that was nearly as old as she was. I should mention that I'm one of the lucky ones. Many plague doctors are hired by towns or cities on short-term contracts. These contracts often include clauses forbidding the doctor from leaving until the plague subsides. Imagine being legally required to stay in a plague-infested town, treating dying people with useless remedies, while being paid a pittance, if the town treasurer hasn't himself died. At least I'm free to leave. If only I had somewhere to go. The final insult? Despite all our efforts, despite our advanced medical knowledge, despite our imposing outfits designed to protect us from miasma, plague doctors die of the plague at almost the same rate as everyone else. So here I sit, at the end of another futile day, drinking wine to dull my senses and trying not to think about the fact that any of my patients could have infected me. The buboes could appear tomorrow, or the next day. Every itch, every slight fever, every headache could be the beginning of the end. But the absolute worst part of being a plague doctor? The knowledge. The crushing, soul-destroying knowledge that nothing I do helps anyone. All my treatments, all my remedies, all my medical wisdom, useless. People die at the same rate whether I treat them or not. At least the town executioner knows he's killing people. I'm supposed to be saving them. So if you're considering a career in 14th century medicine, might I suggest literally anything else? Become a gravedigger. At least they provide a necessary service. Or try leech collecting, those actually do something medically useful. Even the job of emptying chamber pots offers more dignity and probably better pay. Because when the history books are written about the Black Death, they won't mention the heroic plague doctors who bravely fought the disease. They'll just record that somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 of Europe's population died, despite our best efforts. Or perhaps because of them. The true irony? 500 years later, people will dress as plague doctors for amusement at costume parties, not realizing they're celebrating one of history's most ineffective, overpriced, and thoroughly miserable medical professionals. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to stuff fresh herbs in my beak. I hear there's a new outbreak in the next town over, and I've run out of emeralds for my poultices.